Hey everyone, welcome to episode 178. This is Tracy with Color Me This. We're on the daily color. This is big, but I want to revisit what I worked on yesterday because I spent more time on it, and I am going to continue and show you how I did it tomorrow. So yesterday I worked on this circle. Trying to zoom here if you wonder why we're shaking. Okay, so after we were done, and I've covered the pastel circle because I want to talk about that during our weekly color, so I don't want to spoil the reveal of that. But I thought that I finished this off and it looked pretty rough. So I now have come up with a couple of tweaks that if you're using maybe a limited palette, so I'm using a limited palette, I'm using a muted palette, and it's also very dark. So I wanted to somehow get some lights and darks going. I showed you using two different colors of red on the hearts, and then I pulled out a second blue for the diamonds. I then did the black, but it looked pretty rough. So this is after me doing a few things that take a little more time, but I think if you want your pages to look nice, it depends on if your purpose is just because you like to color to de-stress, but you maybe don't necessarily like the details. So this revisit that I will do tomorrow will spend a little bit of time. I'm probably going to do like another half of this tonight, and I will leave the details, but it'll be all colored so that you can kind of see how I progressed to get the look that this right half has. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I just felt like I left it pretty unfinished, so I never want to leave you guys wondering how I do things when it comes back, on Sunday, and all of a sudden it's just like magically fixed and so much more, has a lot more depth and looks more finished. So what we're really going to work on today is romantic country. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit because I don't think we're going to want to be zoomed in. We are working still on our library page, as I call it, with the two kitties. And I'm going to rotate the phone. I finished. I don't think I can make this any bigger, can I? We'll look at it this way. So here is the finishing touches on the wood of the bookcase. I have not finished the shadowed side behind the table, and I haven't finished the horizontal piece, but I think I'm going to leave that for now. I do want to share with you that I went back in and put in more wood texture, not loud wood texture, not really strong, but soft wood texture. And then I also added a little bit more wood up the side and along the top. So hopefully that meets with your approval, because today I am going to rotate this direction. I really enjoy when I'm coloring wood elements and I'm left-handed, coloring lengthwise. I think it's easier for me to get the wood look. I am going to take the Fireplace mantle and work it separate from the stove insert element. I need to work on my grays. This is the cool gray, and I don't think it's working for me. It's not dark enough, so I will be working that separate from doing the wood texture today. So let me find my pencils. First I have to grab my swatch sheet. I have been, because these browns the barrels are not a close representation. I am using this set of 4 browns, light to dark, 6101, 6180, 6201, and 7180. I had a little cough yesterday, and I still have a little bit of it today. So we don't need the green gold olive. We don't need the red. Let's see if I can find the tones I'm after. Nope, this is the orange browns. Some of these are just so dark, it's hard to tell. There's my 2 different sets of gray. I hope I should turn the light over here so I can see my pencils. Nope. I might have to go away and figure out. Remember, I colored last night in bed. And they're not here with me. So I'm going to have to go find them. Okay, I'm back. I have pulled for my browns the 4 from lightest to darkest, 6101, 6180, 6201, and 7180. Thank you all for coming today, or whenever you make it. That's the nice thing about pre-recorded videos. You can watch them whenever you have time. So, and thank you for those of you who are returning for coming back to watch me. Okay, so I've got this mantle. It has those 4 same browns. I am going to start with the lightest brown. I will be coloring directionally on purpose. I also think, if I'm looking at this, that this right here has to be very dark gray, if not black. So I might leave it alone. And I will know better the tones to use once I darken the Fireplace insert colors. I am rotating through. This is the second lightest tone. Very light hand. I am purposefully allowing some random horizontal lines that will become wood grain. I can already see a couple of them forming, and later on, as I get to the darker colors, these random lines I will utilize as wood grain. I'm going to skip the third color and go right to our darkest, which is 6201. Oh, that's not the one I want. That is the third darkest, and now we're going to go right to the dark, 7180. My little strip is moving on me. Now I'm going to go in Oh, I need to sharpen. Got my sharpener here. These are not a super soft pencil, but they are definitely soft enough that I've had to sharpen this dark one 3 times now. So you can't really expect these to act like an oil pencil that has a very hard tip that will keep its tip. So here's my goal. This square piece is an inset in my mind. So my goal is to create it and make it look like it is inset. Adding a couple of random dark wood green streaks. Gonna add, this is a mantle that has a lip going over the rest of the wood. We had an unusual morning this morning. We had to be out and about early for running an errand. And of all the things before we even left, at like 8:30 or so, it was raining. So it's not common for us to find AM rains here. And it was only 73 degrees, and I did not bring even a short sleeve hoodie, nothing. I just had a tank top and shorts. So I was a little bit on the cold side. Okay, so I have framed in the horizontals. I really am going to have to rotate this. This is the joy of the big book, all these big book challenges. Let me set the pencils down. I'm going to rotate my camera. And actually I have to move you guys. Let's see if I even can. You know, I'm going to do it this way. We have learning curve issues going on right now. I think I can work with this. Okay, how does that? Nope. It needs to go more that direction. All right, so I'm gonna move this a little bit. I think I will be fussing like this every time I have to rotate the book. Now I get to, oh, everything looks green. Okay, so I can now work on, oop, this is the dark. So clearly these are a textured ridged area here. I don't know what this is called. I only know dental molding, and that's not what that is. I'm gonna say that and this is going to end up being dark. I do have craft glasses today, but this is too far away for me to use them. So I do want that to be darker. This is all in shadow because the lights are above the mantle on these candles you see along the top, and then there's fire in the fireplace in that insert. But these wood elements are behind that. So we're going to let them be shadowed. And not have as much wood tone to them. And this is all, and this is a fat baseboard. We haven't got a lot of wood tone going here yet. There's a lot of wicker. There are there are 5 wicker baskets. that I get to look for some sort of lighter browns. All right, I'm ready to add some color. Have this all fairly muted, sort of flat. And now we'll try to get in there and make it look a little more interesting. So the darkest brown is off there. Let's grab these other three. I'm going to start with the lightest color, 6101, the light umber. Yep, that is the lightest one. Okay, that is a little bit warmed up. I'm going to go do the other side. So then they match. Okay, I am shifting to 6180. Yeah, this is the second lightest color. I can tell I'm being super quiet today. It's so funny how some days I'm just very focused, and other days I am chatty. I feel like this circle and the inner circle are very different than the other. Oh, you can't even see it. Look at that. This circle is very different than this. The two sides are very different. I feel like I want this, if I grab the darkest color, I really want this to just mostly be obscured, I guess, by the darkness behind the basket and the shadow being cast. So something like that. And then this side, the other thing is it's in the both sides are cast in shadow, so I don't necessarily want there to be the appearance of wood grain. It should just be softly dark. So I am actually now doing ovals and not necessarily lines. Okay, I need to pump that. Okay, so let's go for a brown. Get some lighter tones in there. 6101 is the lightest color again. This little square, just like this one, they are inset. So is this rectangle. The circles are popped up. Whenever I'm thinking through the light and dark values, I always chant to myself, lights advance, darks recede. So if I want this rectangle to look in the distance, I need to darken it. And then of course it's matching other brother on the other side also needs to be darkened. And these typically are, I think of them as rounded. And the best way to make the rounded is to have the middle of the rectangle be lighter. And I see a little bit of that happening, but not too much. I don't want it to be overly strong. Since these are not in the light. I am going to need to rotate because this now is way too light. But before I do that, I want to get a hint of round on this side as well. And then these sides are flat. All right, now, before I'm checking out these dark areas here, this side is going to be darker than this other side, which has a little more light at play. Not a lot, it's got this candle over on the side. All right, now I am rotating. Moving my light. And I'm going to move my camera toward me. All right, now you can see where I have this to darken up. And I see this dark brown. This should be the third darkest. Dark umber 6201. Yep, so this is the not quite the darkest, but almost. This is recessed. And I am okay with a couple of my horizontal lines being a little heavier so that it kind of depicts the wood. All right, let's go do this other side. Pardon me again. Oh, light umber 6101. This is the lightest color. And I'm just going to get some warmer wood tone going. I am thinking ahead to how I'm going to get this background so dark. I just don't think it should be the same color as over here in the bookcase, because it really would be a cold, dark gray. So I'm probably going to have to do a black, mix black with a dark gray, and then maybe a glaze of brown. That will be a trick. I want these to have the same warm brown tone. are we doing for time? We're probably almost out of time. So let me warm up this in here as well. All right, I'm gonna go to the next darker color, which should be 6180. Yep. The safety of using light layers is that you can always go darker, but it's harder to go lighter. So I just do a little bit at a time, and then I look at the whole picture and how is it looking, and then we need to go darker, so I come back in doing soft layers over the top. Now, at some point, I can start adding the hint of wood. This again is the second lightest color. So I will go in with the darker later. I see that now that I have added quite a bit of warm, to the horizontal, now the vertical is too light. That's how this always happens. I could always go faster, but it's riskier. I like how this bottom is nice and gray with less color to it. And then it lightens up here on the outer edge where there might be some light reflecting. And then I still want this to appear rounded. Okay. Need to warm up this side and then we will be done. Probably going a little bit over, but I want to keep pressing on, making forward momentum here. I'm really excited to do the little tchotchke items on the shelving, on the mantle. I like how dark this down here is looking. Okay, now let's see if we can get a good look at both the bookshelf. I think that the fireplace mantle still needs a little more warmth to it. Every layer I put on is like a glaze of the whatever the brown is that I am putting. I did start with the dark color very lightly, so it already had a grayish cast to it that now I am slowly undoing a little bit by a little bit. But I think they are even enough between the two that I now can kind of work on them together as I feel the need to build them up more. But for now, I believe we are set, and this is probably all I will do for the week. I'll do a review, what I would like to commit to for the weekend. For Sunday's review is that I will, this is hooked on the clip, I will do this horizontal wood as well as the last 5 chunks here of the wainscot trim in front of the bookcase. And I don't know that I'm going to tackle the stove color, but I would love if I could get this background figured out and put in. So that is what I owe you for the Sunday review. And 2 more goes. It depends on how long it takes me to do all the little doodads everywhere. I might even do everything except the background, the wall, and the floor. And perhaps I will save that as a reveal, unless I want to do almost 100% with you guys. So that is it for the day. We're at 44 minutes this round, and I already talked a little bit before I had to come back in. I shared with you a little bit about what we're going to look at tomorrow in Small Victories. So that concludes this episode of the Daily Color Big, as I call it, in Romantic Country. Do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, and please consider subscribing, as I am trying to grow my channel. And I will see you all tomorrow for Coloring in Small Victories. See you then.